Hi, my name is Lisa. This is my husband, Paul. We're really excited to share with you a recipe, one of our favorite recipes from my cookbook, Losing It with Lisa, Sugar-Free and Loving It, for the Home Cooking Newsletter. This recipe is my no-bake cookies, and it is found on page 18 of my cookbook. One of the reasons why I love this recipe so much is because there is peanut butter in there. And peanut butter is one of my favorites, especially when it comes to feeling full and feeling satisfied. My kids love it too, and that's another bonus because I don't have to give them a sweet treat from a bag from the grocery store to satisfy them. I can give them one or two of these cookies. They're full, they're satisfied, and their sweet tooth has been satisfied also. This is, like I said, the no-bake cookies. This recipe has no sugar in it. We're going to be using agave nectar instead of any refined sugar. What I love about agave nectar is that it is lower in the glycemic index than refined sugar, and there's a very mild taste to it too. I love to use honey when I cook also. My kids like it sometimes, but because honey has a little bit more of a stronger taste, sometimes they don't love it quite as much as the agave nectar. I find with agave, it's more neutral and it's more, it hides a little bit better, I guess. And my kids don't realize that they're not getting real sugar. So first ingredient of this recipe is, Paul?
1 cup of walnuts or pecans?
No, that would be shortbread cookies. You are hysterical.
Okay.
We're doing this side. Okay. The first ingredient in this recipe is
a 1/2 cup organic natural peanut butter or almond butter.
So what I love about this recipe is that you can substitute any of your favorite nut butters. My family loves peanut butter, so we're going to use peanut butter. But as it says in the recipe, you can feel free to use almond butter. Coconut butter is lovely, cashew butter, any type of butter that you like, it'll work just fine in this recipe. You might find that if you use a different nut butter, you may have to alter the dry ingredients a little bit. We could talk a bit about that as we get to the dry ingredients. But for now, let's just get the 1/2 cup of peanut butter in. I buy my peanut butter organic and it's natural. So there's nothing added in it. It's just peanuts and I think a little bit of salt. So here we go. Peanut butter is in the mixer and we're not even going to start to mix until we add a few of the other ingredients.
Next is 3/4 cup of oat flour.
Okay, so oat flour is here. What I do to make my oat flour, you can buy oat flour at a bulk store or a health food store. I just buy old-fashioned oats and I blend them down to a flour mixture in my blender. So you can do it fairly easily at your own home if you don't have oat flour on hand. So here goes the 3/4 cup of oat flour.
You'll need 3/4 cup of old-fashioned oats.
So here's your 3/4 cup of old-fashioned oats. That's going to go right in the bottom of that mixer also. And one of the reasons why you can mix these up by hand. One of the reasons why I choose to do it in my KitchenAid mixer is because the KitchenAid mixer is a lot more strong than I am, and it will whip things up a lot smoother and a lot quicker. Whenever I use my KitchenAid, I tend to add a little bit more dry ingredients as opposed to if I was mixing it up by hand. I probably would get tired out mixing up all of these thick ingredients together, especially all at once. I would probably add a little bit at a time, but because this is all going in the KitchenAid, we're just going to dump it all in and the KitchenAid will take care of it.
1/4 cup of agave.
So here's your 1/4 cup of agave. Just goes right in there. If you've never seen agave, it's just liquid, just like that. Very similar in consistency to honey, but a different taste altogether.
Next is a 1/4 cup of shredded coconuts.
So this is a 1/4 cup of shredded coconuts. You'll notice I have 2 1/4 cups of shredded coconuts set aside. One is going to be set aside. The reason why is we're going to coat the cookies after as an option. It's not called for in the recipe itself, but it's a nice touch to make them look a little more presentable, especially if you want to give them as neighbor treats or whatever. So there goes the 1/4 cup.
Last but not least, a 1/4 cup of unsweetened chocolate chip cookies.
No, not unsweetened chocolate chip cookies.
Sweetened. 1/4 cup Quarter cup. Quarter cup.
It's great.
A quarter cup unsweetened chocolate chips.
Yeah, they're actually grain sweetened. Here's the little trick I'm going to let you in on when you're making these cookies. If you do not have grain sweetened chocolate chips and you're trying to keep this as a recipe that's sugar-free, you can very easily substitute these chocolate chips with a tablespoon of cocoa. And because you've added the cocoa instead of the chocolate chips, you might find that there's a little bit of a dark chocolate taste to the cookies, and that's fine. But if you would prefer it not to have such a dark chocolate taste, you can always add another teaspoon or so of agave if you choose to go with cocoa instead of the grain-sweetened chocolate chips. Grain-sweetened chocolate chips are sweetened with corn and barley. They are fairly expensive, and sometimes they can be hard to find. I pick mine up at the local health food store, but they're not always there, and when they do carry them, they are more pricey than regular chocolate chips. We use them sparingly. They tend to have a little bit more of a bitter taste or a dark chocolate taste, so we don't use as many of these as we would regular sweetened or semi-sweet chocolate chips. These are going to go in the microwave for about 25 seconds, and we'll see if they're melted after that point. So I've picked these out from the microwave. They're not completely melted yet, but if I stir them, the heat sort of disperses and the chocolate chips start melting. Here's the thing about chocolate. I would rather have them need to be mixed in so that they fully melt as opposed to letting them fully melt in the microwave, because chocolate can burn in the microwave and it tastes horrible and it leaves a terrible smell in your house too. So that's the consistency we're sort of looking for. We're going to take that and scoop it into the mixture. And remember, like I said, you can use cocoa powder too. You don't have to go with the melted chocolate chips. Cocoa is a little bit easier. You don't have to mix it up and wonder if it's melted enough or whatever, but I like the deep chocolate taste of these chocolate chips. Here you go.
Thank you.
And we are done adding all of the ingredients. That's it. Short ingredient list. We're going to bring up the KitchenAid and turn it on. So we just let this go until everything is all mixed in together. Usually at this point, when things are almost mixed in, I'll up the speed a little bit to speed up the process. Looks good, huh? You want to mix it until it has this peanut buttery, chocolatey look to it. It's not deep brown and it's not still the peanut butter, but this is it. So we're going to take the beater off and the bowl comes out. This is what we're looking for in terms of consistency. Now, some people like a thicker feeling cookie. We're going to test the consistency of these cookies here. You're looking for cookies that don't stick to your hands. So this is a good consistency. You could probably add another quarter cup of oats or oat flour if you like a thicker cookie, but this is fine right here. You decide the size of the balls you want to turn this into. I like them small so that my kids can grab a couple. And I will show you what a nice big one looks like. It just is a bit awkward to make a big one and eat a big one. They're kind of fun to pop in your mouth, but are you going to eat one too as you're going? I kind of thought that was coming up. Okay, so one of the reasons why this is kind of a crazy thing, but one of the reasons why I don't like making big peanut butter cookies like this is, to me, it looks like a meatball, and that ruins the whole idea for me that I'm getting something sweet. So small is the way to go, I think. Now, this is not mentioned in the recipe in my book, but I like to do it as an added touch. I told you before about the coconut on the side here. This is an option that you might want to do. You can just roll the ball into coconut, and it looks really presentable, I think.
I think it actually looks like one of those Dunkin' Donut minis without all the calories and the sugar.
Yeah, and it probably tastes better too.
It does taste better, actually.
He knows the right things to say. He'll be in trouble if he said no.
Absolutely. I know where my place is.
That's right. You know where that cookies place is too, apparently.
In my mouth.
These are supposed to be kept in the fridge. You could keep them on the counter. If you keep them on the counter with someone like Paul around, they're not going to last very long. I keep mine in the fridge. They do tend to get a little bit more solid when you're putting them in the fridge. My kids like them either way, cold or room temperature. They last a little bit longer in the fridge for two reasons. One, there's no Cookie Monsters living in the fridge. Two, this is natural peanut butter, so it's just gonna, not that it won't go bad sitting on the counter, they just taste a little bit fresher, I think, sitting in the fridge. If you're going to place them in the fridge, you want to make sure that you cover them with some sort of a wrap, or you place them in an airtight container so that they don't get that fridge stale taste. I think you probably know what I'm talking about. These work great as a quick snack when you're lacking a little bit of energy. I love the fact that the peanut butter has protein plus natural fats. Those two things right there help you feel satisfied because it takes a little bit longer for your body to break it down. So it can help provide satiation for a little bit longer than, like I said, a sugary snack from a store-bought bag.
One of the great things I love about these things is that I get up early at about 4:15, 4:30 every morning to go to work, and I don't have time to make breakfast. So these things will be sometimes sitting out on the counter, and I pop about 3 or 4 in my mouth at a time with a glass of water, and then I'm on my way to work. I feel satisfied. I feel great, and I haven't had any type of cereal that would add more sugar or more carbohydrates to my diet. It's a great healthy way of just eating something on the go.
Yeah, we've got with our oats and our oat flour, great complex carbohydrates in there. With the agave, you've got the natural sweetener. With the peanut butter or almond butter or coconut butter, whatever you choose to use, you get great fats as well as good protein. This provides good, like I said, satiation. It's satisfying, and it feels like you're eating a little sweet treat, especially at 4:15 in the morning.
Absolutely.
Hey. I hope you enjoy them as much as we do. They're great.
They're awesome.